This is a throwdown, a showdown. Hell no, I can't slow down. It's gonna go.
First offense.
All the mix.
I was born in Toronto, raised in Toronto. Scarborough is where I came up in. Before that, I used to live down Mills and Shepherd, not too far from Fairview Mall. And then we moved to like Midland and Finch and then Birch Mountain Steel. So, North York / Scarborough.
What would you say your childhood was like?
Beautiful, beautiful. I love my mom, my dad. I'm the eldest of 3. I came up in the late 70s. I'm dating myself, but I had a good family, definitely.
Is it true you wanted to be a hockey player when you were a kid?
It wasn't necessarily I want to be a hockey player, but what it was is like Bobby Orr was the biggest, most popular cat at the time. So when I was going to Shaughnessy Public School, the teacher asked, draw a picture of what you want to draw when you grow up. So I decided to draw a picture of a black version of Bobby Orr. But I was the only black kid in class, so I was like the pepper grain in the salt factory, you know what I'm saying? So it didn't go over that well with the students, what have you, like that. And that was the first time in my life someone actually told me I couldn't do something. So if it was meant for me to be a hockey player, yes, that's what would have happened. But up to now, I still remember that was the time that someone told me for the first time, you can't do something. So definitely.
Did you enjoy school?
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed school. 4th grade, my teacher made me do public speaking, I went to St. Timothy's at Don Mills and Shepherd area, right across from Fairview Mall. And my teacher, Miss Toner, she selected me to do public speaking. So I learned how to be nervous and still talk to people and still communicate with people. And then my 6th grade teacher, we did a lot of creative writing in class. So up to now, those 2 teachers right there meant a lot to me because I learned to work on my creative muscle, writing stories, and at the same time be able to speak publicly and still be nervous in front of people. I put that together and that helped me become an MC, a better MC.
Did you ever think you would have the first Canadian hip-hop track to appear on Billboard's Top 20 Rap Singles chart?
Nah, I just want to get the girls, man.
Just let it slide, y'all. I don't give a damn.
I want the girls to like me. I just want to have that hot rhythm to put the stamp on Canada. And basically that's what it was. That's where my head was at. Because we never had a point of reference of what to look at to see. Nothing coming out of Canada. I had no one older than me to look at to say, this is what to do, or this is what not to do. It was just by instinct what we were doing.
Favorite book and what?
Favorite book is a joint called Creative Thinking. Self-promotion for the creative thinker. And the author named Lee Silber. It's an orange paperback. I just think it's pretty fresh and gives you ideas how to multitask, diversify, do different things, and expand in your brand, in different ways. So I thought it was pretty creative, and you should check it out.
Favorite movie and why?
Mo Better Blues, Spike Lee. I don't know. I love Denzel. Wesley Snipes was in it too. It was just a dope flick.
Favorite song of all time?
I like Ooh Cha from the Stair Steps, man.
Who or what song first inspired you? When did you know you wanted to do music?
Curtis Blow's Rapper's Delight first with Sugar Hill Gang. Then Curtis Blow had a track called The Breaks, and then after that a joint called Super Rhymes by Jimmy Spicer. Those were the 3 tracks that inspired me.
Can you tell us about the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio?
I just felt great when I heard Backbone Slide on the radio for the first time, but what it really was when I heard it in the club for the first time, that's when it really made me like jump up and down, because it was mixed in with Heavy D and the Boys joint called I Want Somebody to Love Me for Me. So when I heard that, it was like, wow, this is real. This is,
On a track called Rap Cats by California MC producer Madlib, we hear your name mentioned among some of hip-hop's biggest names like Africa Bambaataa, Ultramagnetic, Public Enemy, KMD, Boogie Down Productions, Cold Crush Brothers, and many more pioneers. Being from Canada, what does it mean to be recognized among such icons?
It's a beautiful thing, man. Madlib is a good dude, and he's one of the cats. He didn't care where you come from, as long as you dope is dope. And the names that I'm affiliated with, that's cool. Definitely, it's an honor to be acknowledged. It's one thing when you're acknowledging your community, but when, from an international perspective, and amongst the other artists, the great artists, and the game changers, trailblazers, my name's a part of that. It's a beautiful thing.
I used to bump Howie B, the Chubb Rock, the Chosen One, Sub Rock, KMD, or BDP, or CDP, or CCB. Take it back like LONS. Remember Daddy Fresh, or Maestro Fresh West? I know rap, my man.
Dance Appeal was a group formed in 1991 in support of an application to the CRTC for Canada's first urban radio station. The bid actually lost to a country station. How frustrating was this for you?
I can't remember how frustrating it was because I was going platinum. That was frustrating for artists who weren't getting those opportunities. You see what I'm saying? So my whole thing was just to bring people with me. I was already on my way, and my thought, in my mind, to bigger and better things. So it wasn't really frustrating for me. It was just frustrating for a lot of the other artists coming up.
Was there even a rap category at the Juno Awards before Maestro Fresh was?
Let Your Backbone Slide was nominated as a dance track at first because there was no category, right? And then in 1991, the Juno, the Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences implemented a brand new category based on the success of the song and the success of the album. So Symphony in Effect is the first ever Juno Award for Best Rap Recorded.
In the book Black Like Who, written by Ronaldo Walcott, an associate professor from the University of Toronto, he says in regards to you and your journey to New York, the location of his new home is also important. While it might represent his desire to be marketed by the forces of American capital that could expose him globally in ways that Canadian capital cannot, he's located in a city of nomads, and in particular black migrant peoples. His movement symbolically suggests that black allegiances to nation are contingent upon the ethical practices of state administrators and narratives of the nation. How do you feel about this statement? And can you tell us about your experience living in New York?
It was the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop originated in New York. My label was a New York-based label, and that's why I went over there. I didn't think it was that big a deal because my foundation was already established in Canada, you know, and South Bronx is where hip hop originated, and that's why I hooked up with cats from the BX. That's just basically giving props to where hip hop originated, and that's all she wrote. I was signed to a New York label because Canadian labels never wanted to sign me at first. So it took a small little label from New York City called LMR Records, and shout out to Stevie B who gave me that opportunity. So, you know, you got to expand and take it to the next level. When you do as a pioneer, you're going to take shots. But a lot of people taking shots don't even know what they're shooting for. You know what I'm saying? Or shooting at because they haven't really walked your shoes. So in terms of perspectives and all that, it's like, I don't know what to say because it took 20 years for cats to see what was accomplished, you know?
Besides music, you also got into acting. Can you tell us about some of the roles you have played in film and television?
You know, Four Brothers, Mr. D, Instant Star. The first movie I was ever in was Paid in Full. Small little role in that, you know, it was cool.
Did you ever feel like you were being typecasted?
Maybe when I first started, that's why I started taking it seriously, going to like acting classes and stuff like that. You know, and I got better, and I'm continuing to evolve, get better. You know, Mr. D's on season 5. Cool sitcom, yeah, comedy.
Another artist from Toronto who dabbled in television and is also a songwriter provided a quote for your book. Stick to your vision and 416905 were legendary moments in my life, not to mention this man's career. Those two songs let me know that it was possible to make a city so far removed feel like it was a part of it all. Now every song and move I make, I think about my people back home and how proud I am of them and they are of me. I owe a part of my confidence as a rapper to Maestro. That was a quote by Drake.
Yeah, I mean, me and him, we got a good relationship. Like, we like the alpha and omega when it comes to Toronto hip-hop. You know, it's like James Brown and Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, he grew up watching me, and now I'm watching him. You know, we watch each other, and at the same time, it's like, you know, hip-hop is supposed to evolve. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. I wouldn't even say just carrying on tradition, but he's taking it to the next level where a lot of people globally didn't know about Toronto. Now he's not just the biggest hip-hop artist in the world. He's the voice of his generation, which goes beyond his genre of music, you know? So, you know, it's a beautiful thing to know that finally, you know what I mean, one of us is being acknowledged globally as the best or the most popular.
You've really paved the way for artists in Toronto and have helped motivate them, but your motivational work doesn't stop there. Can you tell us about your relationship with the Toronto District School Board and any other public speaking engagements?
I do presentations across the country. It's not just Toronto. Elementary students, colleges, universities, corporate companies. You know, I base it around the 3 principles of my book, Stick to Your Vision. So I think those are, I think they're universally applicable, and they could apply to anybody in any field, from sports to anything, you know, film and television, whatever.
You also played with Ice-T around the time his controversial song Cop Killer was out. How were people reacting to that song at the time?
I mean, it was controversial, you know what I mean? But I met Ice-T on tour already, and he was real peace, so, yeah.
How do you feel about all the police brutality we've been seeing in the news lately? Have things gone better or worse?
I think it's the same, personally, you know what I'm saying? And it bugs me because I grew up listening to Public Enemy, and we should, you know, based on, you know, how I came up listening to KRS-One and PE and groups of that, you know what I'm saying? It's like we as a community should be ahead instead of where we're at right now, because we had examples and we had points of reference of how to move, you know what I'm saying?
Toronto, how y'all feeling? Yo, next year is my 25th year anniversary in Maestro Fresh West. I got a brand new, yo Chuck, can I do this quickly? Y'all feeling good? Check this out. Before Drake was on the tour bus, rhyming with Wayne, I was in my basement, vibing the cane. I'll be the rap prime minister, what? The prime minister, rap prime minister, what? I'll be the black P.A. Elliott, speaking to my delegates. No time for small talk, inflammatory rhetoric, deaden it. House of Commons know I got knowledge. Out to shatter shit, I murder any member in my cabinet. Ain't no debate who's the hardest to kill. Concert halls where I brawl, call it Parliament Hill. You conservative or liberal? I hit you with my lyrical. Maruti try to school me, but I'm one smooth criminal. Yo, I got Christy Brinkley's, 6 Lewinsky's, Celine Eshenite, Dwayne both wanna leak me. I'ma stay politicking, I stay winning. When Rakim hit Vancouver, guess who hit the stage winner? Black Trudeau, Rap Juno. Before King I was waving the flag and met Bruno. I was in a class with my teacher, Chris Parker. And that's the reason why I'm too sharp for Steve Harper. Got Prime Minister Klatchan telling me I'm trapped, yeah? Heard that before, still it's gotta be known. Mick Jagger's in Toronto, still I keep my bravado, I ain't sweating that. My wife being a fan of the Stones, I told Mr. Cardinal, drop another anthem to T-Dot Municipal. Show me invincible. I told Rob Ford, stick to your vision. But when I saw him eat, bro, stick to nutrition. Opposition wanna body me. Suckers try to lie me. Immigrants came to Canada so they can follow me. Love the rap policy, record to set. René Levesque know my style, kept Quebec in effect. I love y'all.
I think the genre of music is reflects that a lot too, and where we're at right now is a lot different from, you know, where we were at back in the days, personally.
In '98, you came back with another hit single called Stick to Your Vision, and I can recall the song and video in heavy rotation. Did you expect it to catch on the way it did?
Yeah, because I sampled These Eyes from the Guess Who, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Randy Bachman, Burton Cummins.
What was the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice I've ever been given. One of them is by my man Gowan, and we sampled his joint, Criminal Mind. One of the things he told me was like, listen to your career. Your career will tell you what to do. If your career is telling you give music a break for a hot second because you're getting more auditions, work on the film and TV for a while. If your career is telling you, you know, you're doing more public speaking engagements, concentrate on that. So, but listen to, be in tune with yourself and what's going on around you. So I think that's one of the best advices.
Do you have any artists in mind that you would love to work with?
I mean, a lot of different artists. I like, shout out to JD Era, Rich Kid. Shout out to John River, who's dope, up and coming MC. A lot of cats I like, man. Toronto got thousands of MCs.
All right, before we wrap up, I'd like to read a piece of the foreword that was written by Chuck D for your book.
All right.
In hip-hop, it is key to not only stay true to the roots of the game, but also to stay true to the Black Caribbean culture that has figured so strongly in its energy. Dignity and respect come with that blend, something that is often ignored by American MCs. Canadian MCs never go backward. It's not in their DNA.
I don't know how I feel about that now. I mean, that's for the Canadian MC that he knew coming up, you know. I think we're in a different time right now where it's cool to assimilate as opposed to innovate. You know, we were more innovators back then as we are right now, but we never had technology as these young kids have right now. You know, it's cool to sound like somebody, where before you were called a biter. In this generation right now, it's like it doesn't really matter that much. If you're hot from a kid's perspective, and history doesn't matter as much to this generation now as opposed to where it was before when I came up. But at the same time, we never had computers. We never had that whole social media monster. I'm from the era of the physical, and we dwell in the era of the digital right now. So it's a whole different ballgame.
Do you have any advice or final words for the youth?
Nah, just if you're in this game, you know what I'm saying, first of all, there's no industry. That's just an illusion, you know. But yeah, don't make records, make history. Very simple. Very simple. Don't make records. Anyone can make a record, but making history is when you do something or say something that people want to interview you a quarter of a century later and play your joints a quarter of a century later, you know. My sister was telling me she was at that beat battle that was recent a few weeks ago, and she said 90% of those beats were trap beats. I mean, that's what you just said. There's assimilating and there's innovating, right? I think it's cool and accepted to assimilate now as opposed to try to innovate and do something different, and people are scared to do that. Nobody told me to come out with a tuxedo and a bow tie. I just did it because I knew I couldn't be Run DMC. It was just me trying to evolve and define myself. Shout out to Mishi Me, and also shout out to the Dream Warriors, because they had a song called My Definition, and it was their definition of them, not someone else's definition of them. And I think artists got to try to define themselves before somebody defines them. You know?
Thank you very much.
Bless.